The void of space was silent, but silence never meant peace. Across the glittering expanse of stars, the Galactic Council's chamber on the orbital citadel trembled under the weight of an invisible threat. Lights flickered over crystalline walls as delegates whispered warnings to each other, their alien voices sharp with unease. Yet the tension wasn't born of the known, it was the unknown that terrified them. A human warship, long thought insignificant by the galaxy's leading powers, had appeared without warning at the outer edge of the Koroth system. Its black hull was scarred, yet sleek, and it carried a quiet menace that spoke louder than weapons ever could. The humans inside did not send messages or requests, they simply arrived, and the galaxy's deadliest assassins, mercenary fleets, and murderous factions suddenly found themselves staring at extinction. Commander Ethan Blackwell, the captain of the human vessel Retribution, stared at the holographic display aboard the bridge. His gray eyes were calm, almost detached, but the air around him buzzed with tension. "They think we bargain. They think threats work," he muttered. "They don't understand what happens when you kill our people." Somewhere in the shadows of the council chamber, the alien ambassadors whispered frantically, trying to formulate a response. But the humans didn't wait. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when murderers met the wrath of humanity, and bargaining was no longer an option. The void of space stretched endlessly before the human warship Retribution, a dark monolith moving silently among the glittering stars. Its black hull absorbed the faint glimmer of distant suns, reflecting nothing back. For anyone watching from a distance, it was a shadow, a warning that the galaxy had never seen before. Inside, the ship thrummed with restrained energy, a predator waiting for the first sign of movement. Commander Ethan Blackwell stood on the bridge, his tall frame rigid, eyes scanning the myriad displays flickering with information. The Koroth system lay before them, a cluster of uninhabited planets and asteroid belts, seemingly empty but teeming with sensors and surveillance grids laid by the Galactic Council. To the galaxy, this system had been nothing more than a remote outpost. To humans, it was about to become the stage for a lesson no one would forget. Lieutenant Sarah Donovan, the ship's tactical officer, leaned over the console beside him. Her short auburn hair framed a focused face, her green eyes reflecting the glow of tactical screens. "Captain, multiple fleets are approaching from the outer sectors," she said. Her voice was steady, betraying none of the tension in her heart. "Council enforcers, mercenary ships, they don't know what they're flying into." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Let them come. We're not here to negotiate. We're here to make one thing perfectly clear: humans do not bargain with murderers." Sarah glanced at the captain, sensing the steel behind his words. Not bargain, not plead, not forgive, the thought echoed in her mind. She nodded silently and returned to monitoring the incoming transmissions. The Retribution was a ship unlike any other in the galaxy. It had been cobbled together from scraps of abandoned freighters, decommissioned battlecruisers, and salvaged industrial vessels. To an untrained eye, it was a mess of patchwork plating and exposed conduits. But humans were architects of chaos made order, engineers of destruction disguised as builders. Every inch of the ship was designed for one purpose: to survive, to strike, and to win. A high-pitched chime drew Ethan's attention. Lieutenant Daniel Reyes, the communications officer, looked up from the console with a flicker of concern. "Captain, we're receiving a hailing transmission from the Council fleet. Ambassador Xylarth of the Drenthery is requesting parley." "They're insistent." Ethan's eyes narrowed, and he pressed his hands together behind his back. "Put them through," he ordered. The bridge dimmed, and the holographic interface flickered to life, projecting the serpentine figure of Xylarth before them. Silver scales shimmered under the alien's harsh lighting, eyes like molten mercury studying every detail. "Humans," Xylarth hissed, his voice translated into the common tongue. "We request immediate dialogue. Your arrival in the Koroth system is a direct challenge to the Council. You must cease your actions and—" Ethan cut him off with a steady, cold voice. "We are not here to negotiate, Xylarth. The humans you have wronged were killed. Our people were murdered. We are here to deliver a warning. Humans do not bargain with murderers." Xylarth recoiled slightly at the bluntness of the statement, but his composure returned quickly. "You misunderstand. Diplomacy. Ethan's hand rested lightly on the edge of the console. No. We do not misunderstand. You do. We act. You will see soon enough. The alien hissed in frustration, the transmission ending abruptly. Silence filled the bridge of retribution, but it was not a comforting silence. It was the tense calm before a storm. Across the Korath system, sensors detected fleets moving into position. Mercenary ships, confidence intact, thought themselves hunters. But they were about to learn the difference between arrogance and experience. "Captain," Sarah said quietly, "the first wave of attackers is closing." They formed a wedge formation, heading straight for the asteroid field in Sector 7. Ethan's gaze hardened. Good. Let them think they have the advantage. The more confident they are, the faster they'll fall. The battle began without fanfare. Laser fire streaked across the void, plasma torpedoes carved glowing paths through the darkness, and human engineers manipulated gravitic fields to draw enemy ships into deadly collisions with asteroids. Within minutes, the first fleet's pride became floating wreckage. Retribution moved like a shadow through the chaos, shields shimmering as they absorbed glancing hits, weapons deploying with deadly accuracy. From the command chairs to the engineering decks, the crew moved with fluid synchronicity, every order executed instantly, every calculation precise. Lieutenant Reyes transmitted damage reports and intercepted communications, feeding them directly to Ethan's console. Lieutenant Donovan adjusted tactical shields and rerouted power to energy cannons, her mind a whirl of calculations and contingencies. Every crew member knew that hesitation meant death, not just theirs, but humanity's message to the galaxy. In the council chambers, panic erupted. Screens flashed images of destroyed fleets, sensors showing human strikes that were impossibly precise. Delegates shouted over one another, accusations flying like arrows. Ambassador Xylartha's silver scales glimmered nervously as he tried to regain control. This cannot be. How are they? They are not bargaining, a human voice echoed in the chamber through the council's open channels, cold and resolute. It was Ethan. They are delivering a warning. Kill humans, and you will answer for it. That is all. There is no negotiation. There is no compromise. This is your first and last warning. Delegates froze. For the first time, they realized the full implication: they had no leverage. Their fleets, their threats, their bribes, all meant nothing. The humans had introduced a new rule to the galaxy: murder a human, and you die. Back on the bridge, Ethan's eyes scanned the aftermath. The wreckage floated in the void like dead constellations, reminders of arrogance and ignorance. Sarah leaned close. Captain, the council will respond. They have to. Ethan shook his head. No. They don't have an answer. They cannot bargain with us. They will debate. They will plot. But in the end, they will learn that humans keep their word. The human crew worked silently, their faces calm, though every one of them understood the magnitude of their mission. Retribution wasn't just a ship, it was humanity's embodiment of justice, swift and unyielding. And as they moved toward the next engagement, the stars themselves seemed to shimmer with anticipation, as if the galaxy were holding its breath. The first battle had been a warning. The next would be a message. And the humans, unflinching and resolute, were ready. Above them, the void waited, endless and patient. But now, it had a new master: humanity. The silence of space was deceptive. From orbit above Korath, the human warship Retribution drifted like a dark sentinel, its hull absorbing the cold light of distant suns. Every sensor aboard the ship hummed with data: fleet movements, planetary activity, communications chatter, even subtle gravitational anomalies in the asteroid belts. Humans had learned to read the void like a map, and Retribution's crew did so instinctively. On the bridge, Commander Ethan Blackwell leaned over the tactical display, tracing lines of incoming enemy movements with a steady finger. The Galactic Council, desperate to regain control, had mobilized a coalition unlike any seen before: mercenary fleets, rogue assassins, and council enforcers converging on Korath, thinking sheer numbers could force the humans to negotiate. Lieutenant Sarah Donovan adjusted the shield matrix. Captain, coalition fleets from the Drenthari, the Zevraks, and the Elanti sectors are forming a blockade. They've positioned themselves at optimal firing vectors. They're confident they can corner us. Ethan's eyes narrowed, shadowed by the dim glow of the tactical screens. Let them be confident. Confidence is a weakness. Their arrogance will be their undoing. Sarah paused. They're not just moving militarily. We're picking up encrypted council communications, they're planning contingency strategies. Whatever they're planning, it's meant to exploit what they think is our weakness. Ethan straightened. Humans have no weaknesses when it comes to defending their own. Not here. Not now. Prepare the ship for full engagement. The hum of the engines vibrated through the deck. Retribution moved deliberately, avoiding predictable trajectories, using gravitational slingshots and asteroid cover with preternatural precision. Its movement was more than navigation, it was a declaration. Every shift of momentum was a challenge. We control the battlefield. We decide the terms. On Earth, the human homeworld, historians would one day call what happened next a turning point. But on Korath, it was immediate, visceral. The coalition, expecting hesitation, encountered instead a wall of unyielding strategy. Torpedoes fired from Retribution exploded precisely in the vectors calculated to intersect enemy formations, ripping apart hulls and shields. Electromagnetic pulses disabled targeting arrays, leaving once confident captains scrambling blindly. Lieutenant Daniel Reyes monitored communications, his fingers dancing across the console as intercepted transmissions flowed through their systems. "Captain," he said, voice taut with suppressed astonishment, "the council is scrambling. Their ambassadors, Xylarth included, are arguing over who should take command. They can't coordinate fast enough. Their fleets, they're falling into disarray." Ethan allowed himself a brief nod. Disarray is preferable to strategy. Keep monitoring. I want to know their every move. In the council's chamber, panic erupted like a supernova. Ambassador Xylarth's silver scales were dulled by agitation. He hissed at the other delegates, claws tapping on the crystalline console. "We miscalculated. We underestimated them. Their capabilities, this is beyond anything we anticipated." Council leader Thalervane, a towering, six-limbed species with translucent skin revealing pulsing veins of light, slammed a fist against his own console. "We cannot appeal to reason. They refuse to negotiate. Every fleet we send, every strategy we devise, it fails before it even begins." The room was a storm of dissent. Delegates shouted, pointed, accused, and pleaded. Yet in the chaos, one truth emerged: the humans were not bargaining, not pleading, not even reacting to intimidation, they were executing precise, cold justice. Meanwhile, aboard Retribution, the crew worked with mechanical precision. Every move Ethan ordered was anticipated and enhanced by the crew's instincts, honed over countless engagements. Sarah manipulated power distribution, shifting energy from engines to shields, from shields to weapons, every action calculated to maximize survival and efficiency. Daniel intercepted enemy communications, feeding them directly to Ethan's console so he could anticipate every attack. The coalition's next move was daring. They deployed a coordinated ambush, attempting to surround Retribution among the asteroid belts of Korath. They believed the humans' movements could be predicted, that even a ship as formidable as Retribution would be trapped if executed properly. Ethan watched the tactical display, unblinking. "Predictable," he muttered, a faint smile ghosting across his features. "They think they're clever. They think they understand us." Sarah's hands flew across the console, initiating countermeasures. "Captain, they've synchronized ion pulses to disable our shields and targeting arrays. If this works..." "It won't," Ethan said simply. His fingers danced over the controls, executing maneuvers so intricate they seemed instinctive rather than planned. Gravity wells shifted asteroids into enemy paths, creating collisions that tore apart several ships before they could fire. Ion pulses were absorbed or rerouted harmlessly, their power feeding Retribution systems instead. Daniel Reyes broke into a small grin. "Captain, they're falling apart. They're not even hitting us. Ethan's eyes remained on the display. And that's exactly how it should be. We are not here to fight for the sake of fighting. We are here to demonstrate consequence. Every attack, every attempt at coercion, is met with justice. Nothing more, nothing less. From the council chamber, desperation turned to fear. Delegates had never faced an opponent who refused dialogue, who punished aggression with certainty rather than negotiation. Every failed attempt to strike the humans only strengthened the legend of retribution. Rumors spread, quickly morphing into dread. Humans did not bargain. Humans did not plead. Humans executed those who murdered their own. Xylartha's voice trembled as he addressed Thalervane privately. Leader, they are not negotiating. They are delivering judgment. We have no precedent for this. None of our fleets, none of our assassins, can stand against them without being obliterated. Thalervane's 6 arms flexed in tension. Then we must find another approach. We cannot engage directly. We cannot appeal to their reason. And yet, we cannot allow them to remain in Korath unchecked. Humanity has rewritten the rules of engagement, Xylarth. And we are unprepared. On the bridge of retribution, Ethan Blackwell's voice cut through the calms, calm but carrying absolute authority. Let it be known to all who hear this, any attack on humans is met with swift and certain consequence. We do not bargain. We do not forgive. This is not a threat. This is not a negotiation. This is the law of our people. Heed it. The bridge fell silent, the crew collectively sensing the magnitude of their actions. In that moment, it wasn't just another battle, they were altering the balance of the galaxy. Humans had established a precedent: murder a human, and death would follow without hesitation. Sarah leaned over the console, eyes scanning the tactical readouts. Captain, the council will respond, eventually. They have to. But for now, they're paralyzed. Ethan's gray eyes, calm and unyielding, swept across the bridge. Let them. They have no answers. They have no options. They can debate, they can conspire, they can beg, but in the end, they will learn what humans have always known: we protect our own, and we exact justice without compromise. Outside the viewport, Koratha's asteroid belts gleamed under distant starlight. Shadows twisted among the rocks, remnants of destroyed fleets drifting silently. Retribution glided through them, untouched, a dark harbinger of humanity's wrath. The humans aboard were not celebrating. They were vigilant. Every eye, every hand, every mind remained sharp, aware that the galaxy would continue to test them. But for the first time, a clear message had been sent: humanity would no longer tolerate murder, deceit, or negotiation when its own were harmed. In the council chambers, panic rippled like a disease. No fleet, no assassination, no bargaining could change the fact that the humans had already shifted the balance of power. For the first time, the delegates understood an uncomfortable truth: the humans were not bound by diplomacy. They were bound by justice, and it was absolute. And as retribution drifted silently through the void, Ethan Blackwell allowed himself a brief, almost imperceptible nod. The first stage of their message was complete. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget it. The void of space had a peculiar stillness that day, a deceptive calm over the Korath system. From orbit, the retribution hung like a shadow against distant suns, its black hull reflecting nothing, concealing everything. On the bridge, Commander Ethan Blackwell stood silently, gray eyes scanning the tactical displays as fleets and sensors blinked across the grid. Weeks of engagements had taught him one unshakable truth: the galaxy could plan, it could conspire, it could threaten, but humanity's justice was inevitable. Lieutenant Sarah Donovan leaned over her console, fingers flying across the holographic controls. Captain, coalition fleets are regrouping from the neighboring sectors. They're attempting to create a coordinated strike, combining Zevrax, Drenthari, and Elanti ships. They want to overwhelm us with numbers. Ethan's jaw tightened, his calm unbroken. Let them try. They've had weeks to understand our message. They still think force can bend us. They still think we bargain. They are about to learn they are wrong. The bridge hummed with the quiet intensity of a well-oiled machine. Each crew member, engineers, tacticians, communications officers, moved in perfect synchronization, anticipating Ethan's commands before he even gave them. Retribution was more than a warship, it was the embodiment of human will, precise, adaptable, and unstoppable. Lieutenant Daniel Reyes intercepted incoming transmissions, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Captain, the Council is panicking. They're debating whether to attempt negotiation again or pull every fleet in the system. Every sector report shows hesitation. Confusion. Fear." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Good. Confusion is preferable to strategy. We are not here to fight to win. We are here to show the consequence of murder. The Council may be powerful, but they still do not understand what happens when humans are wronged." From across the void, the coalition fleets advanced, a glittering wall of metallic ships bristling with weaponry. In their arrogance, they believed overwhelming firepower could crush the humans. They had no idea that humans did not bargain. They did not hesitate. They did not forgive. The first volley of enemy fire streaked across the darkness, brilliant plasma beams illuminating the void in jagged flashes. Retribution responded with lethal precision, its weapons unleashing torrents of calculated destruction. Electromagnetic pulses disabled targeting arrays, turning coordinated attacks into chaotic collisions. Asteroids were diverted to collide with advancing fleets, each impact a message etched in fire and debris. Sarah's voice remained steady over the comms. "Captain, shields are holding. Weapons systems are optimized. Enemy fleets are disorganized. Their formation is breaking apart." Ethan leaned over the console, eyes unblinking. "Good. Let them fall. Let every ship understand the cost of misjudging humans. We are not here to destroy for pleasure. We are here to enforce justice. One fleet, one strike, one lesson at a time." Amid the chaos, the Council convened an emergency session, their chamber filled with the hum of panic and despair. Ambassador Xylarth's silver scales were dulled with stress, his voice trembling. "Leader Vane, we cannot stop them. Every plan fails before it is executed. Every fleet we send is annihilated or rendered useless. This is beyond diplomacy, beyond negotiation." Thaler Vane, the Council's six-limbed leader, slammed his fists against the crystalline console. "They refuse to bargain. Every threat we make, every fleet we deploy, it fails. They are executing justice. Absolute. Immediate. And we have no countermeasure, no precedent, nothing." In the Korath asteroid belts, human engineers turned the battlefield itself into a trap. Retribution maneuvered effortlessly, weaving between debris, drawing enemy ships into gravitational snare points that shredded hulls and tore apart formation lines. Torpedoes detonated with surgical accuracy, incapacitating engines without harming unthreatened sectors. Every action was deliberate, every outcome planned and devastating. Daniel Reyes transmitted intercepted coalition communications to Ethan's console. "Captain, they're starting to realize that negotiating is impossible. They're debating withdrawal, but they're terrified of turning their backs." Ethan allowed a faint nod. "Let them. Fear is a teacher, but experience is a master. Humanity does not teach with words alone. They learn through consequence." Back in the council chamber, Xylarth hissed sharply, turning to his peers. "This is unprecedented. They are not bargaining. They do not plead. They do not retreat. They are enforcers of their own law. Every attempt to deceive or intimidate is met with lethal precision." Thaler Vane's luminescent veins pulsed with tension. "We cannot negotiate with them. There is no leverage. Every fleet we send is destroyed. Every envoy we dispatch is humiliated or killed. We face the terrifying reality: humans do not bargain with murderers. They enforce justice." On the bridge of retribution, Ethan's voice cut through the comms, calm and absolute. "Council delegates, ambassadors, fleet commanders, hear this clearly: any attack on humans, any act of murder against our people, is met with immediate and unavoidable consequence. We do not bargain. We do not plead. We do not forgive. This is the law of humanity. Observe it, or face annihilation. A stunned silence echoed across the galaxy, amplified by communications relays. For the first time, the Council had no answer. Their authority, once absolute, now hung by a thread. Humans had introduced a new rule: kill a human, and you die. Simple. Absolute. Unyielding. Sarah leaned closer to the console, scanning the tactical grid. Captain, they're retreating. They're consolidating. Every fleet they've deployed is falling back, reorganizing. They know they can't win. Ethan's gaze remained fixed on the void, gray eyes sharp. Let them retreat. Let them live long enough to understand. The lesson isn't in the dead, it's in the realization. Humans will not bargain. Humans will not forgive. Humans will enforce justice with precision and certainty. That is the message the galaxy must learn. Daniel Reyes smirked. Captain, the legend of retribution is spreading fast. Across multiple sectors, fleets are turning back before even engaging. Spies are reporting fear, and not just fear, respect. Ethan allowed himself a brief nod. Respect is a start. But understanding takes time. We are not here to be admired. We are here to enforce justice. Let the galaxy remember that. Let them remember it forever. Outside the viewport, the Korath asteroid belts glittered like frozen diamonds in the starlight. Floating among them were remnants of destroyed fleets, the silent testimony of humanity's precision and resolve. Retribution glided effortlessly through the void, untouched and unyielding, a sentinel of human will and justice. For the crew aboard, there was no celebration. They were vigilant, aware that the galaxy would continue to test them, that challenges would come, and that their mission was far from over. But for the Council, for the assassins, for the mercenary fleets, and for any who might dare to harm humans again, the message was carved in stone: humans do not bargain with murderers. Ethan turned to his crew, his voice low but filled with authority and satisfaction. We've delivered the message. Let the galaxy ponder it. Let them understand it. Today, we did not fight to win, we fought to set the rules. Humans enforce justice. And we do so without compromise. The stars stretched into infinity, a silent witness to the shift in power, a galaxy forever changed by a single warship and its crew. Retribution continued its vigil, moving silently, waiting, ready. Humanity's verdict had been delivered. And for the first time in history, the Galactic Council had no answer.